Let's get the camera set up over there. What are you doing? Turn the camera off. Turn the camera off right now. What have I told you? Don't film me when I'm not in my power suit. God damn it, Gary. Jesus. Hi everyone and Happy New Year, Vindicator Jones here, kicking off 2017 with a brand new rant video about crime and punishment in open. Since my last video about combat logging, there has been some interesting reactions from numerous commanders and player groups. Obviously there were many individuals who either didn't understand the video or just plain outright didn't watch it. And that's cool, I expected a lot of flack for it, but some of the comments have just been absolutely mind-bendingly hilarious. The most common one is Vindicator Jones condones combat logging. I mean, seriously, did you even watch the video? Understanding why someone does what they do doesn't mean you condone their actions. For instance, I can understand why a starving man would steal a loaf of bread, but it doesn't mean that I condone people to start stealing. I mean, come on guys, not everything is black and white, and understanding why someone does what they do is the first step in combating it. So I'll make this clear, do not combat log. There are no acceptable reasons for combat logging. If you don't want to take the risks of open in its current form, then go to Mobius or play solo. And herein lies the problem. I absolutely hate saying that. I'm actually tired of saying this to commanders who ask me many times why open is the way it is. I've received mail from many new and less experienced commanders who feel so overwhelmed with open that getting good is just not even an option. Especially when you have fully engineered FDLs melting inexperienced commanders in less than 5 seconds. And this is why I'm releasing videos on the subject, not to attack any particular group or person, but to shine the light on what's going on in open and how it's not conducive to good gameplay for everyone. There are two major problems in regards to open. The first is Frontier's current crime and punishment system, and the second is that some PvP player groups' assumption that open belongs to them, and that everyone has to engage gameplay on their terms, and if you don't want to, then you must play solo or go to a private group. The second problem is directly related to the first one, so I'll start with the second problem first. PvP player groups should not have a monopoly on how open works. They should not be telling players who do not want to engage in being murdered for absolutely no reason to go play solo or join a private group. Insulting other players with terms such as Care Bear just because someone doesn't want to play as your content is not what a good PvP pilot does. This is just outright bullying. You do not own open. That being said, I actually can't blame SDC or other groups of a similar nature from doing what they are doing. Right now, Frontier has basically given open to these kinds of players to do with as they please. And just like in real life, if you allow the bullies to control something, then you're going to have the exact same problems as we have right now. The strange thing is, I actually don't have a problem with SDC or groups like them, even though they don't like me very much. Oh, diddums. I have absolutely no issue with murderous psychopaths roaming space, getting off on their quick thrills of killing for absolutely no reason. Surprised I'm saying this? Well, again, I can actually understand why someone feels the need to go seal clubbing or wreak havoc and wanting to watch things burn just for the sake of it. But understanding why people choose to adopt this kind of playstyle doesn't mean I condone it. See how it works both ways, guys? Personally, I think that kind of behaviour is boring, childish and pointless, but I do defend their right to do it. This is a game after all, a way for all of us to release our inner demons or live out our wildest fantasies. The problem is, most games cater towards a specific style of player. Take FPS multiplayer, you know what most players are wanting, cheap quick thrills and to cause murder and mayhem. And that's cool. I was a big Call of Duty Modern Warfare fan back in the day, and I still play a lot of MechWarrior Online. Survival games like Rust also attract a specific type of player that revels in chaos and cheap thrills. There is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I get a bit of a kick out of it too. It's just that kind of game. But Elite Dangerous has elements of both high-paced PvP combat, chaotic survival games, and more relaxed gameplay styles such as exploration, truck simulator, and a flight simulator. Now imagine if you had a game like Euro Truck Simulator where you could ram cars with flamethrowers attached to your truck and have other trucks using 50 BMG machine guns trying to take your haul. It would be a completely different, but strangely awesome video game. That's given me an idea for a paid expansion. Anyway, but you get my point. You're pouring all these different people with different gaming styles into the same Elite Dangerous melting pot and then basically leaving them to sort it all out for themselves. And that's where Frontier have seriously dropped the ball on this one. Sorry guys, I really love your game and I do think it's awesome, but there are elements like this that really highlight big problems that need fixing. Right now it's the kiddies with the biggest guns pushing around the smaller guys saying this is how open is, deal with it or leave and go to play solo or private groups. The problem is open should be a social zone where commanders from all walks of life can come and interact with each other in numerous different ways without it always resorting to immediate PvP combat, usually between two different classes of player. No one playstyle group should have a monopoly on how open should be, and this includes everyone from explorers, peaceful traders, PvE crowds, PvP crowds, and even terrorists. Everyone should have the choice to engage in their favourite activity while having the choice to minimise their exposure to other players who prefer different other types of activities, or to face them head on and test their skills against other players who gives them no quarter for bigger rewards. There has to be a balance that benefits all players. Everyone should have a choice in how they engage with open, without removing the more dangerous aspects of open, including non-consensual PvP. It's a tough nut to crack, I'll admit, but there are some things that could be done. Right now there's absolutely no risk or deterrent for those commanders who love to roleplay as terrorists. And please don't waste your time with the old excuse that a rebuy is deterrent or risk, because it's just not. Most players who engage in this activity can easily throw away tens of millions of credits at a time without even batting an eyelid. Rebuys are just like fuel costs for these guys. Also, a rebuy means your wanted level is wiped and you can just start all over again without any further risk. Want to kill someone at a station for no reason? Sure, go ahead. You'll kill your target, then the station will kill you, then boom, you're all forgiven and can go ahead and do it all over again. Even if you have a wanted status in a system, you can still easily dock with any station within that system as long as they haven't opened fire on anything within range of the station in that instance. So basically, any commander who's wanted in a system can repeatedly kill players in that system and then refuel and rearm at any station with absolutely no consequence for their actions. Seriously, how is this even logical? It's equivalent to a terrorist shooting up people in a small town, then going to the local gun store, purchasing more ammo, then popping over to the petrol station for a fill-up before continuing their murder spree. What is seriously lacking in Elite Dangerous is an effective permanently active karma reputation system that cannot be wiped by simply dying. Frontier have previously hinted at some sort of karma system coming to Elite Dangerous, but with no immediate plans to implement it anytime soon. But honestly, I really think Frontier need to reevaluate what's really important to the game and prioritise this over other projects. Let's be honest, community-wise, I think implementing an effective karma system into Elite Dangerous is far more important than ship-launched fighters, multi-crew, and even engineers. Getting more people back into open and generating a dynamic, interactive galaxy with an effective crime, punishment, and karma system is only going to have a positive influence on how the majority of people perceive the game and, more importantly, open. Making open more accessible to more commanders can only mean one thing: more enriching, dynamic content for everyone. Allowing players in open to choose the amount of adversity they could face will give unskilled commanders the room to grow, learn, and prepare themselves for what lies outside of high security space. Right now, realistically, there is very little to differentiate between high security and anarchy systems. Sure, there are a lot more NPC patrols and scans in high-level security systems, but let's be realistic. Do they even pose the slightest threat to a geared-up PvPer? Are they going to show up in time when an innocent player commander is interdicted out of supercruise and blown up in under 10 seconds for no reason? No. High security NPCs are laughable to an experienced commander. They offer no threat or deterrent. Quite often these commanders can easily kill their prey and move on before local security can even scratch their NPC butt cracks and be any kind of help to an inexperienced player. I'm sorry Frontier, but if you really think high security systems are effective, hit me up, come and join me for a ride and I'll show you exactly how inadequate they can be. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Having a functioning karma system working in conjunction with an effective system security level would greatly balance out the danger between various types of players. Players who have positive karma can feel relatively safe in a high security system and travel within these systems with minimal danger, whereas a player with negative karma would feel threatened and would face significant risks. A player with really low karma could face almost instant interdiction by large corvette wings equal to their combat rank, making flying in high secured systems almost impossible. And the inverse is also true. Flying in anarchy systems should be significantly more dangerous to traders who will face multiple pirate wings wanting their cargo. PvP interdictions and ganking would be completely fair and legitimate here, and those wandering into Anarchy space without suitable protection are just looking to become a bloodstain on some psycho's FDL cockpit. Couple this with a more refined version of the current mission system, including passages, then you can start to generate some very interesting gameplay. Creating a safe trade jump route, avoiding low security in anarchist systems would then become far more important and force commanders to make important decisions about their journey instead of just picking the fastest route. Most missions pay traders based on how far they have to travel. Now imagine missions where you get paid based on how dangerous the mission is. Missions to anarchist systems could pay big rewards to those willing to take the chance, while those wanting to play it safe can do so but not earn as much rewards. The same thing can be said about trading. Commodity prices in anarchist systems could be doubled, meaning traders could take more risks to earn more money, and pirates will have the ability to steal this cargo and sell it off for themselves, making piracy a little more profitable. Planetary rings in anarchist systems could be far more lucrative, as fewer miners would not be willing to mine in these locations due to the risk factor. It might even be more profitable for human commanders to hire other human commanders, protect them on highly lucrative trade missions into anarchy space, giving more reasons for players to play in open and actively work together, and giving the pirates and terrorists some more targets to play with. On the flip side, anarchy systems could generate high-paying smuggling missions that are also based around risk. Smuggling weapons into a high-security system should be very risky for smugglers, but also a lot more profitable. Players would then have to manage their karma level to avoid generating too much heat and getting picked up too early on NPC's security scans. Community goals could offer two types of missions: community goals in safe systems and ones in anarchist systems. People then have the choice of playing it safe or taking the risk to earn more rewards. And that's the whole key here, choice. Giving players a choice in how they interact with the game in open is fundamental to making the game better for everyone. People will complain a lot less about ganking if they know they are taking a risk entering an anarchist system, as they have made the choice to do so. Am I saying this will prevent all terrorist activities in high security systems? No, of course not. You're always going to get the occasional idiot thinking it's hilarious to blow up newbies and trade commanders for absolutely no reason in high security systems. But I do believe it'll make this kind of activity a lot less attractive in the long run, and those types of commanders who do love to do this kind of thing will find it easier to do in anarchy systems, with more players now moving back into open. If you manage to get your karma down low enough, you could even have bounty hunters, both NPC and players, coming after you in anarchy system space. Now imagine that your bounty never goes away, even after death, and only players with high enough karma, true bounty hunters, can cash in the bounties. These kind of players would then be consistently chased and harassed by both NPCs and players, just like they would in real life. You have basically become the Osama bin Laden of open and have to accept the consequences of your actions. So then you have a choice: manage your karma from becoming too low, or face the consequences of your actions. Again, this boils down to choice. Keep murdering innocent commanders and you're basically painting a big reticule on your ship that will never go away even after death. Suddenly the galaxy now becomes just as dangerous for the terrorists as it is now for the peaceful traders. That's called balance. The only way to fix your karma is to lay low for a while, kill pirates, or engage in other peaceful types of activities, and avoid shooting other commanders for a period of time. You now have to be far more selective about who you kill, or run the risk of being hunted down over and over. And before you yell out, "What about piracy?" Yes, I agree, this is a bit of a problem to manage with the karma system. Piracy is a legitimate profession that really needs some love. Pirates who do not kill commanders and only steal their cargo should not have their karma negatively impacted too much. It could create a situation where trade commanders think they can get away with running away from pirates, because pirates are less inclined to shoot them down due to the negative karma they could incur. And this just highlights another problem with Elite Dangerous: effective tools for piracy. Admittedly, I have not tried the latest improvements to the Hatchbreaker limpets, but I do think piracy needs some new tools to play with, so this profession could be more lucrative to players who enjoy this kind of activity. But I won't go too much into this topic, as this video is starting to get a bit too long as it is, and that's just opening up another whole can of worms. Power play is another issue, but I think this could be worked around using some common sense. If Frontier came out and admitted that the current form of open is working exactly as intended, then I will shut up, admit I'm wrong, and go back to making my regular content. If this is how Frontier wish to represent their game, then really, who am I to argue? But here is something to think about. Recently, Mr. Brabham was encouraging players to come back into open, saying how fun it was, even though at the time he was being repeatedly destroyed by other commanders. Which suggests to me they have a measurable indication of how many players are abandoning open for solo and private groups. So my sentiment is this: maybe it's time to re-evaluate open and how your player base interacts with it. I think what is also missing in the game is organised PvP events. Forget CQC, it was a nice idea, but if you can't use your own ships, then really, what's the point? Having an in-game arena for PvP would just be freaking awesome. You could have set classes such as small ship only, medium ship only, large ship only, open class, engineered and non-engineered classes, and so much more. Imagine taking your ship to a system specifically designed for PvP, using a CQC style arena and using your own ships. Groups could arrange their own battles and take skirmishes into an environment that is far more fun than just open space. We could even make it so your rebuy is nullified or is only a fraction of the total cost for a rebuy. Commanders could then go into their own respective ships and get good, and hone their PvP skills to better withstand the dangers of open. We could have a leaderboard where commanders get paid rewards for being in the top percentages of their class, similar to a CG. Now tell me, how awesome would that be? Right now, Open is mostly filled with combat PvP ships in CGs trying to get as many kills and cause as much mayhem as they can, because let's face it, they are mostly bored. We can point the fingers at certain players and try and lay the blame on them, but the reality is that if the game mechanics allow them to do it, we can hardly blame them for taking advantage of it. The thing is, perhaps Frontier are working on this right now. Maybe it is in the pipeline, but we have no idea about it. And if that's the case, Frontier should be more transparent about their roadmap and what they are working on. I understand that they don't want to pass along false hopes and generate negative feedback for projects that are either delayed or redefined. But I do believe good and honest communication with your player base will yield far more positive results than remaining cryptic. The point of this video is to raise awareness and to give voice to a silent majority that often gets drowned out by the vocal minority. I'm not here to point fingers or say you're not allowed to play that way, because that's not going to solve anything either. You should be able to play however you want, but there should be places where you can do that reasonably safely and other places where it will be far more risky to do those kinds of activities. Allowing players to decide how much risk they're willing to take will, I feel, entice far more players to come out of solo and back into open, especially if the rewards of doing so are there. Incentivizing players to be in open should also be considered, with giving bonuses to missions and bounties for completing them, supplementing the risks of flying in open. Am I saying I have all the answers? No, I don't. I could ramble on here for the next 30 minutes about some ideas I have and solutions to problems I think could be implemented. But I'm just one guy. Maybe my ideas suck or they're just too hard to implement. But I really feel something needs to be done, and done soon. Opening up discussion in the community, I think, is the first step to shining more light on the problem. Name calling, screaming and yelling are going to solve nothing and will eventually kill off open, in my opinion. Getting together and discussing constructively how we can make things better is what's going to make Frontier take a bit more notice than the petty squabbling of minority groups. So I urge the silent majority, make your voice known. Let Frontier know what you think and feel, and please leave constructive comments in the section below, even if you're against the idea. Perhaps I'm wrong, maybe many people will disagree with me, and that's cool, but at least let's get talking about it in a constructive manner. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and end the rant here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have an awesome 2017, and I look forward to seeing more of you out there in the big black soon.